Welcome to Aqua. This is the Amelix Quarry project. I thought I'd just record a couple of clips, maybe some progress updates as I work on it. We're currently about 3 months in, but like years and years into development of all the slimestone that we're going to be using in this project. So a quick progress update of what's going on the server. We have done the 2 side trenches. So this is was the biggest design headache in the entire time. I had an absolute nightmare designing trenches that would be reliable enough to be worth running 1,700 blocks. Liquids were the main thing. So in Bedrock Edition, falling water and falling lava create an absolutely heinous amount of pending ticks due to the way that they update as they fall. And pending ticks break observers when they're observing things, because obviously if they delay the ticks then flying machines don't work. So so eventually we got that fixed, and I managed to get a trencher that worked pretty much all the way down here. We had a couple of headaches. For example, if I timed this correctly, I have. For example, massive immovable block structures in the middle of the trench that we needed to be removed. Redstone blocks. Mojang have made it really, really, really hard for us to create quarries nowadays. It ran 1,700 blocks this direction, going south, I think. Unfortunately, quarries in Bedrock Edition have to be made either going south or going east due to a bug, which I think I'll be able to show you actually if I get a gravity block. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick showcase as to why you can't just build a trencher in every direction in Bedrock Edition. It's the same goes for quarries. Because if I do this, so this is the direction we're currently going, and this would make sense. So if I pull this block back, the gravity block falls. Okay, but if I do it in this direction, unfortunately something very, very, very odd happens. Very, very, very stupid bug in the game. And actually, that is the only reason why you can't build quarries in certain directions. This is the trencher I designed. I'll go into Spectator and show you. Cool, so big thanks to Canopy for Spectator. So this is the trencher I designed. It was an absolute headache getting the TNT system to work and getting this down into the box that I wanted. But it is the smallest possible, so you wouldn't really care how big the brain is in a quarry because it's normally above all the terrain, but because of build height and how far you want to mine down, it does actually matter, because normally you have to mine out some terrain for the brain to go through, and this brain is 8 blocks wide. It's 6 blocks wide, but it takes a trench of 8 because there's slime on the side, and you literally cannot get thinner, which is crazy. This design can have a collection, but unfortunately the collections always have water in them and they break, so we just hopper spammed as a collection just because we thought we might as well collect some of these blocks. Ray, the absolute crazy madman, decided to use TNT at the last bit. Not too bad because it did end up breaking basically where it was supposed to finish anyway, but I am not touching any of that TNT. The biggest headache, I'll probably give some kind of tutorial or something along those lines on this trench design, because I mean, being very modest, it is the best in the business, and it's absolutely perfect for world eaters, for quarries, and for any kind of perimeter making, because you can just build it, leave it to run, and it's very, very simple to fix. But you will need a tutorial to learn how to fix it. So if you make me, or if I get around to it, I'll make a quick showcase on how this thing works. Of course, there was another one of these we had to make on the other side. So, stupid honey. So we had to make another one over here because the quarry has a width and you need trenches on both sides. The quarry is going to mine out an area of 243 blocks horizontally, and obviously the 1,700 going south. But this design is slightly better, I would say. It's slightly wider, 1 block wider, so this one needs a trench of 9, but it was designed to be collectionless. So actually the brain is so much smaller that you can actually mine up to a higher height. This one can mine up to like Y132, I think, with the bottom trench in place. Whereas the other one could only mine up to 128, which is a big deal on this side of the quarry, because actually we didn't have to dig a single trench like for the brain. It literally, the terrain went up to Y131, so we would have needed this to save us some manual effort. And this one broke almost never going across. We literally just let it run for like, I think it was like 10 days or something, and then it reached here and I stopped it. So yeah, very, very, very simple. Again, I will showcase this if I make a tutorial later on. So Daniel and I spent quite a lot of time, just mainly Daniel, removing water from the sides of the trenches with sand. And Raymond has been working along the bottom trench. He's already collected almost double chests of diamond blocks, just run out of rockets, getting here. And currently he's run through one ancient city, and he's just got that other one that I just showed you earlier to go. He's missed one. Okay, well, that will definitely be collected later on. This trencher, this tunnel bore even, was designed, well, it's a mixture of the slasher bore, which will be linked below. It's in the Slimestone Discord. And I basically took the heads of that, which are very, very simple, very, very reliable, and then just stacked it twice on top of each other. Double activation, so one on either end. And we also have bots loading it, so that's bore 2, and then bore 1 is somewhere over there, which move along with the trencher. Big thanks to Forrest for creating understudy and canopy and all of that lot, which basically everything you see on the screen, all the coordinates, all the TPS, that's all him. So big thanks to Canopy for that. So unfortunately yesterday I managed to shrink the size of the bottom of the quarry. It now fits down a 10 block high trench instead of a 12 block high trench, which would have saved us a lot of effort on liquids. Because a lot of liquids fall down from the top. I mean, I'm sure you'll see, like here, for example, like these lavas and waters over here, and just falling down, and then you have to clear them really, really high up. So you're less likely to bump into liquids the smaller your trench is. It would still need 2 TNT, so you're not making it any more TNT efficient. You're just saving time. But unfortunately, we're too far into this project to reduce the size of the trench. So what that just allows me to do is make sure that the quarry never leaves any blocks behind, so we can just fully AFK the quarry once everything's cleared out. Okay, so with the actual quarry progress, this is the base, this is the collection system. This is the thing that took the most amount of time to kind of design, and it's probably my proudest Slimestone achievement ever, is getting this thing to be dispenserless. You may not know this, but there are a lot of Slimestone tricks going on this design. So, for example, you can see it glowing. That's because end rods have a very, very particular property, which is that if I put water, it's not going to break anything, no. If I put water in the system here, actually I'll put it here, they're flowing waterloggable and movable. So it allows me to use this sticky piston over there to push this entire thing forward while still allowing water through the trench. Stairs also have a very nice property, which is that if I drop items down them, it kind of like, that didn't work. If I drop items down them, if I drop items down the stairs, they kind of like walk down the stairs like that. So that just stops them from getting like stuck on the trapdoor on the edge here. And this design is lossless. So any blocks that do get mined by the quarry, which will be up there somewhere, will be collected. Because it's so wide, there is item despawn chance, so that explains what these pistons are doing here. So if I quickly pop over to the other end, over here, you'll see this almost AND gate looking structure here. But what this basically does is that water flows down from the top up there, which protects the block shield. And when it lands here, items can get stuck on this block here. And because it's not actually flowing water here, because there's a source block also here. But when all the flyers get down to the bottom, these pistons will be activated, which basically push the items off and into the water stream before everything disappears. As with these, if this was slime, they will be bouncing up in the air and getting lost. I mentioned gravity blocks earlier. That's what the soul sand is for. So if a gravity block falls on soul sand, it breaks like that. So they will be falling here, here, and here. But the reason there's 2 layers of soul sand is because I can probably show you this. I've kind of also glossed over the fact that there's a massive wall here and a massive hole that the wall is in. So most people build world eaters just for the sake of building a world eater and building a perimeter. This one was actually necessary. So I built a 20-30 block wide world eater. Very, very simple to design. I'll link it below by Luca F, and others. And just ran it with like 50,000 TNT and just bombed out this entire thing over the course of like a day or two. Very simple, very easy, and it was just the quickest way of doing it. So that was flying machine number 4, I think, that we've used so far in this project. Yeah, and then because the world eater had a grid, I also used flying machines to blow up the grid to save me time from mining it. A lot of lag spike there. And then, yeah, of course, this massive wall, which also has like block conveyors along the top, which I built up in 24 hours and just ran it with a fake player, just placing concrete powder. So yeah, that's kind of the update. The kind of unfortunate news is that we need 4 million TNT, well, like 3.6 million TNT for this thing to run from end to end. And the way that we're going to do it is either farm all that TNT and load it all into the dispensers as we go, or we're going to load like we're going to farm half of it, and then we're going to load half of it, and then keep farming as we go, depending on activity and things like that. But we haven't started farming any of it. We've maybe got, that was close. We've maybe got like 200,000 TNT, maybe 400,000 TNT. So yeah, we're talking like 10%, like to 5% of the total TNT we need for this thing. Okay, so I thought I'd just pop into the CMP just to show you the quarry design and everything that's gone on behind the scenes to get this far. As you can see, the limestone area of the CMP is looking a bit crazy right now. But if I just fly over to, not this one, oh no, it was this one. This is the final design, this one here. So this is the 64 wide version, just so we can fit it all in one structure block, and then we can just segment it when we want to move the structure onto the SMP. But it is definitely the cheapest design out there. Ignoring the grid, of course, that's a design choice by us. The collection system is absolutely tiny, and this isn't even the version I mentioned earlier. This is with the taller trench. Ancient debris isn't a problem for us. We've tunnel bored. We've got a 1,000 block long tunnel bore in the Nether, so ancient debris is not going to be a problem. But the biggest thing in this quarry is the movable tile entities. Of course, in Java Edition you don't get movable tile entities, but they can move water. So I mean, that kind of evens things out. But for us, these dispensers here stop the block shield, which is being moved in front of the quarry the entire time, from being blown up. And I'll quickly run the quarry now to show you how all of that works. Okay, so let me just quickly spawn a bot so that I can quickly fly around and just show you, what's the command? Quarry join. So I can fly around without unloading the thing. Yeah, he'll be fine there. Great thing about this quarry, it has an on-off switch. So you just flick it, and then if you don't want it to run again, you just flick the switch again. There we go, sorry, lag spike. So yeah, as you can probably notice, the floor is looking a lot like what's on the SMP right now. You have the ancient debris, which is currently being used on the tunnel wall, that I'm going to steal for the sides. And so what happens is these flyers go up and pull out a load of blocks. If I do this, you should be able to see better. So they're currently trying to push forward this massive set of blocks in front of it, which would be the block shield. That removes any liquids in the sides. And then they create a space for water to flow down. So if we stand here, you'll see in a second, all the dispensers above the flyers release a load of water. So this protects both the end stone on the side here and the block shield in front of it from being exploded. So this is where most Bedrock quarry designs don't work. Almost all of them use a water shield, but most of them don't have a complete water shield. So they cheat and basically don't have, where I'm standing here, water here. And unfortunately TNT can actually get through the diagonal gaps between water, and so you actually lose efficiency by blowing up some of the block shield back here. Anyway, water goes down and then the bombers go up. Now this is the unique thing about this quarry design, is that the stations are really expensive and the flyers are really cheap. A lot of progress has been made in quarry designs in Bedrock Edition, reversing that process. So the grid itself, to make it TNT efficient, is really, really, really cheap. So single block kind of cheapness. And the flyers get really big and really expensive, but mainly they're really laggy. Whereas this time, our flyers are pretty quick. They're the fastest cheap design you can get on Bedrock Edition, the terracotta flyers. But because there's almost no moving blocks in these flyers, they're very, very lag efficient. And we just have expensive stations with all the dispensers here. I don't know if I've got it stationed down here. No, but on the actual design, each of these stations will be able to hold one dispenser, one hopper, and one barrel's worth of TNT. So they'll be able to hold all the TNT for the entire duration of the quarry, or 1,700 blocks. So yeah, we'll run it again. I just do this. So you can flick the switch if you want to run it again. You make the decision. So we'll run it again. As you can see, all the water dissipated and went down here. And as soon as that block gets pushed out of the way, the flyers leave again. This is a massive AND gate on the back. There are 3 AND gates on this quarry. This just checks that all the flyers have got back down to the bottom again. When they get up to the top, there's an AND gate at the top up here. And there's an AND gate on the bombers in case the bombers explode themselves, which we've never seen happen, but it might be possible. So this is all just, it's all very, very, very cheap and basically doesn't increase the lag. I know pistons are tiled entities, but there's so little of them in the AND gates that we thought it was worth it. Just for kind of reliability things, we really don't want the entire thing to blow up if one tiny thing goes wrong. So yeah, this time I'll show you this end of the quarry. So as we saw before, all the flyers go up, and as soon as this fly gets here, it'll activate the water, and then the water flows down. And we're using the end rod trick again over here to kind of protect the observers that are on the side of the flying machines over here. So when they're flying down, this will get pulled out of the way and destroy the water in this area, while still allowing the flowing water to get through it with those items. So yeah, you'll see there's a little water blade if you just saw it there. And that's pending tip proof too, which is amazing. and then the TNT gets pushed forward and starts blowing up the blocks. Very, very, very satisfying to watch. And as you can see, all the items get collected and flow down into the water stream right here. And yeah, so that's how the quarry works. Can I find